Baby's gonna change everything.
I'll teach the baby art and Chris will change the diapers. You're giving me food?
Lee would be such a good mom.
So would you.
Doesn't matter if it's Lee or me, because we don't have the money.
His visa runs out in a few months and he doesn't want to go back to Korea.
My grandmother doesn't know I'm gay.
You come out, they cut you off.
I have a proposal. You marry me, and I'll pay for Liz to grow a baby.
What?
Me? My daughter marrying a man.
It's for the cause. We're helping a gay couple stay together.
Delete all of them?
All of it. Every Pride Parade photo, every National Coming Out Day post.
Can I still post Instagram stories?
Do you want grandchildren?
I'll delete Instagram now.
Dan's grandmother flew in from Korea to meet her future granddaughter-in-law.
What are we supposed to do exactly?
We gotta de-queer the house. You.
What?
You look gay.
Honey, I'm home.
Have you picked the wedding date?
We don't want a ceremony.
No ceremony?
This is absurd. All so you can get a green card.
Let's try looking more in love. I don't even want to be an American. The trains are so slow and I never know how much to tip.
할아버지 물론 네 결혼 기다리셔. 니들 다 바보야.
What did she say? She said we're dumb.
So welcome back to the SWAU's official channel with your host, me, Bryan, and we've got a great guest, another guest from the upcoming release of a wonderful movie that's going to be in the theatres from the 18th of April. It's a Wedding Banquet, and it's an awesome movie, and we've got a great guest. It's Jeremy Hoffman. Jeremy, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much for having me, Bryan.
And I have seen this movie, and I just think it's incredible. I laughed, I cried. I think a lot of people are going to take a lot away from this film on so many levels. So let's talk about the movie. How did you land the role of Marshall, and what drew you to the project?
So Marshall was funny because originally when I was auditioning for it was asking for a 50 to 60-year-old actor, which I am not. I went out for it anyway, did my best, and what ended up happening is I did get cast by the grace of God, and Andrew, and he ended up telling me after we were filming that, you know, we actually picked you because Marshall was based on a true person in his life, and I just happened to remind him of a younger version of Marshall, so It was just really nice to hear. Yeah.
So thank goodness you didn't have to put on all the makeup to become a 60-year-old man. You know,
I was ready for it, though.
It just shows how much influence you made during the audition process for Andrew to say, do you know what, we can scrap the age. You know, Jeremy's the perfect fit. I mean, Marshall is. The lead of a non-profit for a great organization. What sort of research? I mean, did you research anything around the character to try and give it that a little bit more authentic feel on screen? I mean, what went into actually building that character?
Yeah, so funny enough, I actually watched a lot of gala speakers, just a lot of gala leaders, just to see, what their actions are like, how they speak to a crowd, and I researched a little bit of a few different LGBT ones, and that's almost how I prepped for the role. I mean, at first I also thought, hey, I'll probably have to be 60 because I didn't know any better at the time. So then I started going into that direction, and I thought, you know what? No, they liked my tape. They knew what I can do. So it's more. I had to be more authentically myself.
Excellent. And that is what the movie is all about, isn't it? It's about being authentic. And that's what I loved about the movie. Nothing was sort of over the top. It felt really real and raw. And it was just, the feels was everywhere. I mean, you broke your foot, I read, doing taekwondo right before filming. So I bet you wish you were that 60-year-old man now, because you could have hobbled onto the stage. Did that affect the shoot and any behind the scenes mishaps or funny moments?
It affected wardrobe for sure. I had to contact Matthew, our amazing wardrobe designer, and I told him, hey, you know what? I actually just broke my foot. I'm not even supposed to walk, but I can. I'll need shoe sizes that are 5 times bigger than I normally wear. He's like, oh, okay. And, luckily I don't think they even caught my foot or feet, but it was an interesting way to start off shooting. I am, for some reason, with a broken foot, more clumsy, and I will walk. There will be so much space ahead of me, and I will head towards the only chair in the room, and I will walk right into it with the broken foot for some reason. I don't know, and that happened a few times during set, which everyone stopped, like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And they're like, "Can you dance?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can," as long as I'm just dancing on my other foot.
Excellent. Yeah, and as long as the camera is panning up a bit. I mean, I suppose the lesson learned here is before filming, I think, Jeremy, you should be wrapped up in cotton wool and bubble wrap and just hope that you don't get injured before a shoot, because that could have been devastating, bless you. I mean, this film has had rave reviews already, and the film premiered at Sundance. I mean, what has the experience been like for you to be involved in such a buzzworthy film? Because everyone's talking about it. It's all over the internet. It's all over socials. I mean, what has that been like? I mean, what has the premieres been like, and the reception that you've had from this movie?
I'm realizing how much of an impact this film is, because when you go into a project, you don't know how successful it's going to be. You don't know what the reception will be. You don't know anything. You just go in there doing your best. Hopefully, it will be well received. And even Sundance, even hearing the buzz when I went to Sundance and feeling that energy that it was kind of sold out throughout the whole run, and that we just got to hang out with each other again as cast, because we haven't really seen each other since the filming. It was incredible. Just the live energy to it just drew me. And I'm gushing a little bit about it because I'm just so proud to be invited to be on the project that is meaning so much to so many people.
Yeah.
That I'm a little speechless with how much traction it's gotten.
And rightly so. I mean, watching that film, there wasn't a moment that took my attention away, and the characters are just fantastic. And let's talk about the cast, because you've got Bowen Yang, who I think is amazing. And talking about, before we start recording, we're talking about comedians, and he is by far my favourite from the Saturday Night Live cast. He's just absolutely amazing. My girls love him because he's in Wicked. So, let's fingers crossed we can get him on the show as well. But you've got Lily Gladstone, the Oscar nominee, as well. What was it like being surrounded by this awesome bunch of people? Is there any special moments that you can remember being on set and seeing some of them? Any stories that you can share?
Oh yeah, I do. I mean, Lily was a gem. She was so kind and so down to earth that you wouldn't think she's an Oscar winner. So she was lovely. And then Kelly Marie Tran, who I absolutely adore. We're just having all these conversations about her life and her parents, and how the film almost mimics her life in a way, just at least her relationship with her parents. So that was really amazing to hear. The main actor I had a scene with was actually Joan Chen, who was incredible. In fact, when I told my parents that I booked this movie and I listed the names of the stars, she stopped me. She's like, "Oh my God, Joan Chen?" And that was the one that she was like, "You have to be on your best behavior here." So I was, until there was I'll give you a little behind the scenes moment when I'm So there's a moment where I actually have to give a speech in the gala, and we have room packed full of extras, and all of a sudden, as I'm talking, a phone rings, and that's a huge faux pas when we're doing a take. We carry on. The assistant director is like, "Okay, you guys, hey, leave your phones somewhere else or turn them off. No ringing." We do another take. I give the speech again, and the phone rings again. And yeah, I know. And now at this time, all the poor extras are terrified because they're like, no one's fessing up, and they're like, whose phone is it? Why can we not move on with the scene? So anyway, we did it again, and then I just hear some vibrating. No ringtone this time, but it's still a distraction. And then I look over to across the podium, and I see Joan looking in her purse. It was me. Oh my God. She makes right mid-scene. And she is so endearing and so lovely. Of course, all is forgiven, but it's just so funny of someone of that caliber. It just happens, you know.
Things happen, and a lot worse things happen on sets, and that, I suppose, can be excused because she's an incredible actress. She really, really is. I mean, without spoiling too much, I mean, what's the one? I mean, obviously you've seen the whole film, I presume. I hope you have. Is there one bit in this film that you're dying for the audiences to see? You know, that incredible like pinch me moment.
I think the ending, honestly.
Yeah.
You don't expect it to go where you think it goes, because sometimes it wraps up in a nice little bow, which a lot of movies do, some don't, but this one almost has like the life still exists afterwards, and I think that's all I want to say about that.
And what do you think separates this film from many of the others that are out there right now?
It's, as you mentioned and alluded to before, it is very real. These are real problems that the LGBT community has and is going through, and everything is identifiable. And I think so many audiences can relate to this, whether even if you are not in the community, there are portions of it that you can relate to. And I think that's what's really nice. It's all very real and very honest, and it's funny, because life can be funny sometimes.
Yeah. And as you said, even if you're not in that community, this film still touches you in the heart. It really does. And there's moments where it's so beautiful, and I'm just glad that it was made and I could see it, because I didn't know what to expect. I never saw the original 1993 Ang Lee version. And I don't know if I want to see that version, because I love this version so much. So I don't know how different it is from the 1993 version. But this film is just beautiful on so many levels. So I cannot wait for people to watch this on the 18th of April. I mean, let's talk about you've had such an interesting background, and looking at what you've done, I want to ask you a few questions about your career, because you've had such a wild journey from pop punk touring to musical theatre to screen acting. What's been the biggest shift for you artistically in your career?
Ooh, it's a very good question, and that's a thinker. I would actually have to say breaking out into acting has been a completely different beast. It's really fun that I can use my skills as a musician and kind of bring that. There are certain similarities and certain parallels, but I think acting, I had to start and take classes again. And I had to think, oh my God, what do I actually know? Okay, I know this, but there's so many things I don't know, and I'm still learning. I think everything that every time I hit a new set, I'm like, oh my God, this is a great way to approach this scene. So I'm still learning from other amazing actors and the community in general. And honestly, that's something that doesn't happen in the music community that much. You kind of train your skills a lot, and then you reach a certain level of proficiency and you are great at it, and there's sometimes people just stop learning. So this acting has been great because it's just really been working my brain.
And then we talk about musical theatre because my girls are passionate about musical theatre, and I did musical theatre a lot in my early years. When I was at university, I was in a production, and your credits are like, for example, The Lightning Thief and Cabaret, which is no joke. You know, first of all, did you enjoy Cabaret? Because I was in Cabaret.
Who did you play?
Clifford Bradshaw.
Okay.
Yeah, and I absolutely
Sally.
loved it. Oh,
Yeah.
I even had to do an American accent because on the stage version, Clifford Bradshaw's American, but in the film, he's English, which
He's
is really
English,
odd that they switched it round. So, how has music, shaped your approach to acting?
Well, it's funny because I would say musical theater is actually the bridge for me. I used to work as a session musician, and I used to be in a few different bands, and we toured across North America. We had a pretty good following, and then I decided, hey, I kind of want to make a bit more money. So I started doing some recordings. I started writing commercial jingles, and I started doing podcasts, theme songs, and I started writing. And then I got into, and then I had a few friends who said, hey, why don't you work on this show? There's a show coming up, and it was called Clue. And it's Clue, the musical, based on the board game. So I'm like, okay, that sounds fun. I've never done musical theater before. I'm sure I can just wing it and see what happens. And that watching the actors have to act every night and playing along with them and musically directing them, it was incredible to see how alive and how crazy live theater can be.
Yeah.
And so I started to do more and more. And then eventually I met actors that said, hey, why aren't you acting? You're telling us what to do, and you're kind of helping us, guide us, and you seem to know everything. Why aren't you acting? And I'm like, oh, that's a good question. Why aren't I? And at the time I was also, I was doing some teaching at the time, and I ended up with a lot of people in the industry who I was teaching. And one of them was a casting director, and she said, hey, why don't you go for this commercial? I think you'd be perfect for it. And then it kind of just started from there.
And that is, if I'm right in saying, a Nissan commercial.
It was, yeah.
And what was that experience like, being in front of the camera for the very first time? I mean, was that quite daunting for you?
No, because it felt right.
It just felt right.
Yeah, I mean, when I was on stage and, playing music, there would be cameras around, there'd be photographers around anyway, but this is just kind of like, okay, now I just don't have to play.
Fair enough. I mean, do you miss the band life though? Because that is an experience by itself. Do you know what I mean? Touring and performing. I mean, do you ever get a chance to get the band back together, or is that just a distant thought now for you?
Oh, we're all doing our separate things now. And
you've all grown up.
I know, we've all grown up. I do miss it. I miss live playing, and I think that's where sometimes I'll still do some musical theater because it is so fun to play with a live band. I miss the rock and roll lifestyle for sure. I don't miss being on a bus for hours and hours on that. But I miss the energy.
But that's something you can always go back to, because you're seeing many Hollywood actors now that are getting into music and getting on stage. So who knows? Never say never, as they say. So what's something that you've learned, along the way? What has been for you one of the most important lessons that you've learned throughout your career so far?
I think for me, it's just keep going at it. Whether you're in music or acting or any other industry, the thing that kept pushing me is I really want to do this, and I know I can be successful in it, and I know there's going to be roadblocks, there's going to be obstacles, but I really want to do this, so I'm just going to keep going at it.
And along the way, I'm sure you've had those pinch me moments, but what's been sort of the proudest moment for you as a performer that has made you stop, pinch yourself, and think, wow, I'm doing this?
Funny enough, I think it's when I started getting in doing acting jobs. It was when I started getting these messages coming in from Brazil and Germany, and they were saying, "Hey, I'm your German voice. Hey, I'm your Brazilian voice." And I'm like, what do you mean?" And they're like, "Oh, you're the project you've worked on. It's dubbed in my country, and I'm your voice. So I would love to continue being your voice." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm having this much of an impact globally."
It's
So
crazy,
that was a
isn't
really
it?
it's crazy.
I mean, I've said to many guests that, do you ever sit there and think that your face and your performance is being seen by millions worldwide, not just in Canada, not in America, but as you say, Brazil, Germany, places like that? It must be very surreal.
It's crazy. I haven't even been to these places, and I'm like,
Well, you have
I want.
now. You have now, and people know your face. So I'm sure that when you go to Brazil and places like that, I'm sure you'll get recognised. I mean, with this industry, it can be very up and down, Jeremy. It's a tough industry to persevere. So what keeps you grounded, and what keeps you sort of motivated to keep moving forwards?
Every project I do enhances, like it almost enhances my drive for it. This last one with the Wedding Banquet, when I see Bowen and I see Lily and I see Kelly, I'm like, okay, I'm among these amazing superstars, and I want to be like them. I want to work towards where they are, and it's almost like every project. There's always someone that will continue to motivate you, whether they know it or not. And I'm lucky enough to have a really supportive family and friends at home that are always like, "Oh, hey, what are you up to now? What are you filming now? What are you doing?" And that it helps to have that positivity in my life, and all of that just fuels me.
And what advice would you give to someone wanting to start a career in acting? I mean, what's the sort of, best advice that you would give them when starting out?
Yeah. So I mean, I actually do this a lot of time because I have introductory actors that will come up to me and ask me for advice too. Introductory. I can't even talk today.
Same here, to be fair.
And I will say, just make sure you do your research on who you trust in the industry. Take classes, invest in yourself. If you don't invest in yourself, then why do you expect other people to invest in you? So take classes, spend the money on some good headshots, like meet with a few people to rep you. Really know what you want and why you're wanting to get into it. And don't just go in there haphazardly, because it is a small industry and everyone knows each other, funny enough, and they'll talk.
And if you had a magic wand and you can change one thing about the industry instantly, what one thing would you change about it?
Oh God, this one's a hard one. A magic wand. Oh, that's great. There's so many things. I think things are already in motion where you're seeing a lot more representation. You're seeing a lot more different stories being told. So that one I can't choose, because then that's already fixed. I mean, let's think about this, because I would say better. I really want the writers and everyone behind the scenes to have a fair wage in the industry. So I guess the magic wand would be to have fair pay.
Which is understandable. I mean, when the writers' strike happened and the actors' strike, I always said that we as consumers, which are the audience, if we went to a supermarket, we would get a fair trade jar of coffee, because we know that everyone along the line of the production of that coffee is paid fairly and treated fairly. And I think it should be the same for movies and TV shows, because I don't mind paying that little bit extra knowing that everyone is being treated fairly. And it's really sad that these studios are often not paying, you know, people down the line because they want to fill their own pockets. But do you think the industry has changed for the better? Because when you mention representation, you know, for example, the gay community, you know, many years ago, I felt that the gay representation on screen was just there as a token sort of, let's put a gay man on screen or a gay relationship. And a lot of people called it gay bait. And what I'm seeing now is beautiful stories being told that are natural, that are not forced. And I think for generations growing up, like my girls, it's nice that they can see things that are natural and how they should be, not where a studio feels that, oh, we need to tick a box. And that's what I feel like the Wedding Banquet, for instance, does beautifully. I mean, do you feel the industry's changed in that way?
I think it's starting to. I think we're getting more and more. And the more choices people have to, you know, see, you know, maybe I want to watch something about an East Indian, you know, gay cultural background. And I personally have no idea what that's like. And it would be so cool to see what their dynamic is. You know, I think the more choices we have, the more informed we are, and the better people we are. And I think that's starting to happen in the industry.
Good. And then we're going from representation to llamas, Jeremy, because apparently you bought a llama. I mean, I read it and I was like, what on earth inspired you? I mean, people buy, you know, guinea pigs or cats, but why buy a llama? I mean, what's the story around that? Because I've got to ask, because I saw it and I thought, wow.
I'm going to attribute this to be young and dumb. Me and an old buddy of mine, I think I must have been, oh my goodness, I think 17 at the time. We saw an ad. They were selling a llama for $100 and it was across the town. So we were like, oh, we have $100. Let's go get this llama. So we went there and then we bought the llama and we're like, oh shoot, how do we get it back? So we were walking a llama across the highway the whole time. Took it back home to my parents. My mom's like, what is this? What are you doing? I'm like, can we not keep it in the backyard? They're like, you go return that llama right now. So, I mean, it was just something we thought, hey, this sounds fun. This sounds cool. No,
that
totally
is hilarious. Not. That is hilarious. You know, did you name the llama? Did you have a name for it?
Yeah, Pookie.
That's hilarious. Oh dear. You know what? Kids and teenagers now, they wouldn't ever dream of doing anything like that, which would be amazing to see. And then I read that you can literally play anything on a piano or a guitar at first sight, which I think is very impressive. If I handed you a random piece of sheet music right now, what genre would you hope it was?
Oh, come at me. I can play anything. But my favorite would be a lot of cinematic movie music at the moment. I mean, it changes every week. I get inspired by different kind of music all the time. But right now, I think the cinematic genre.
Awesome.
I would just dive right into.
There is nothing like it. I went to the Albert Hall a couple of years ago in London to watch Superman the movie, and it was performed by the London Philharmonic Orchestra. While you was watching the film, honestly, it was an experience that I've never had before, and it was just, you know, heart-stopping in places. And then the last one, you love dinosaurs, and you can name 50 of them. If you could be a dinosaur for the day, which one would it be and why?
Oh my goodness, this one is tricky. I've never thought of that. I have several favorite ones. I would probably be a Stegosaurus. I've just always loved their look with the scales, their little those little spikes at the tail, and they just seem really chill.
We would never know. We would never know because we weren't there. But let's hope they were chill. But Jeremy, I cannot wait for people to watch this film. It's been an absolute delight speaking with you. If audiences took away one thing from this film, what would you like it to be?
Oh my goodness. That no matter how hard life is, you'll always persevere and you can laugh about it. Because
that is exactly what I took with many other things, but I cannot wait for people to watch this film. Go and watch it from the 18th of April, and it's The Wedding Banquet. And what an awesome cast. Jeremy, you've been a great guest. It's been absolutely lovely to talk to you, and hopefully we can have you on again in the future for the many wonderful things that you've got lined up, I am sure. But Jeremy, look after yourself and keep safe, my friend.
Thank you, Bryan.